this put together. We'll do the thing where I pretend to talk and you dance. And there we go. Welcome to the Tuesday show, everybody. We're getting jiggy with it. Like Jiggies from one of my favorite games, Banjo-Kazooie. We're talking about all things existence related. How you doing today, Cammy?
I'm doing pretty good. What about you?
I'm doing tremendous. I'm ready to kick this into gear, get going. I guess we should start with, I'll just bring up a little bit of my gaming habits, because I was saying before, I don't think I've had much time to game this week. I've actually made a little habit out of gaming this week, a positive habit. I'm trying to eat out less, and I love me some breakfast sandwiches from McDonald's. So what I've been doing instead is making a nice little breakfast, maybe a PB&J, maybe a bowl of cereal like Raisin Bran, and sitting down and playing Animal Crossing, because I can just kind of do both, and turn my brain off, and it's wonderful. I paid off my house. I'm now on to the a little under $1 million bells one. I think the second to last house upgrade that you get. Don't have nearly enough furniture, and I still can't find peaches to save my fucking life, but it's all going tremendous, and I'm enjoying that so far. How you got any gaming going on, Cammy? What games you playing?
Still working my way through Bloodborne, but we're on the record of I'm doing about an average of 3 bosses per stream.
Good.
So I'm happy with that. And apparently I'm like 2 bosses away from the end.
Oh, well, very good. What's next on your stream list then?
Well, the thing is, I agreed to do the DLC and all of the optional bosses.
Right.
But apparently I have 3 optional bosses, the DLC, and then 2 main bosses. And then I'm like, Bloodborne is complete. I agreed to do Demon Souls.
Demon Souls is fun.
Yeah. And now I'm not terrified of Soulsborne games. I can actually play that.
Bloodborne's probably the best one to start. Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3, I would say, are probably the best 2 to start with, because I started with Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. I've loved Bloodborne. I really like it a lot.
One of these days it'll come to PC, and I'll be a happy boy. That's the plan.
I pray for you. Yeah.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Who cares? Bloodborne's not hard. It's got a guy with a big sword that turns into a bigger sword. Come on.
It's definitely not as difficult as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, it's a lot of people play it up.
Mental block. Yeah.
Yeah. And some people are just really bad at video games, and so they won't be as good. Why doesn't Dark Souls or Cuphead have a difficulty rating? I don't want it to be hard.
Kind of does. When you go into a boss level, you can choose.
You can choose simple to practice, but you can't progress unless you beat them on normal. So
yeah, you can't get to the end.
You have that option, but you either get good or get out if you want to experience that beautiful Cupheadness. I get what some people are saying with that, but at the same time, that's the point of those games, is practice makes perfect. You're supposed to master it and memorize these levels and get really, really good at these boss patterns. That's the point of those video games, the Souls-like games. So, and Cuphead isn't Souls-like. It's a 2D shooter.
It's more difficult.
Yeah.
I think Cuphead's more difficult than Bloodborne.
I think it's different. I don't think that's. Of course, it's subjective. So I don't. They're on par for me. It took me longer, of course, to beat Dark Souls 3. It's hard for me to compare because it took me 60 hours the first time to beat Dark Souls. Then my next playthrough, it took like 20 hours, maybe 15 hours. But then Cuphead was like. Cuphead took me 7 full days, basically just playing Cuphead to beat. And so, I don't know. It's apples and oranges to me a little bit. But I like them both. I think it's the more...
Yeah, I like them both. The reason I say Cuphead is more difficult is that in Bloodborne, if you're really struggling, okay, you go away, you grind out some blood echoes, you level up, you keep leveling up until, whatever boss you're up against is a lot easier. Whereas in Cuphead, it's like, oh, you can't do it?
Better start doing it then. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I say I think Cuphead is because there is no choice but to get good.
That's right. Last time I like did a full playthrough of Cuphead because I'll jump into it every once and again, just to like showcase my skills a little bit anytime I get the chance. But I did a stream of it over the summer, my first and only stream I've ever done. And my room, it was at my old apartment. My room got so hot, it was like 95 degrees. I was like coated in sweat.
Mm.
And good God, not no one was watching, just a tiny stream by myself, and I was like, hopefully it's saved somewhere because it is. You can progressively see me just like melt as I go through it. I didn't beat it on that stream too. If it hadn't have been as hot, I would think I would have beat it. But the little Let's Play I did of it too a good number of months ago.
Games on stream is more difficult because you're like your attention's split for one. So like if you have people watching you, you can't be solely in on the game. You have to also be like chatting to people as well. And then it's like normally if you're playing a video game and you're up against something difficult, you might say, right, I'm gonna take a half an hour break. I'm gonna walk away, I'm gonna have a drink, I'm gonna like not look at it for a bit. Or if you wanna like hop onto the game, you can hop onto the game whatever time. If you're on stream, it's like, well, no, I've said I'm streaming for this set amount of hours. I have to sit here and just keep going, and I can't, if later on I feel like really energized and really awake, I can't come like be like, okay, now's the time,
Yeah.
because I'm not streaming it. I think it's more difficult to finish games on stream.
Yeah, I'd honestly, that never even occurred to me at first. But yeah, that's definitely one of the benefits of not playing on stream with like Dark Souls and Cuphead is you can hop into both those games for maybe 35 minutes, maybe an hour, get really frustrated and just be like, all right, I'll step away and come back. Like there was times when I was playing Dark Souls 3, I would step away for like a day or two and then come back, and the boss I died at like 40 times, I'd beat on the first try or the second try or whatever, just because I feel, you feel fresh, you feel ready to go. I never thought about that, but maybe that's my excuse for not beating Cuphead on that stream. I'm still the best on the
Good
planet.
excuse. Although I would like to say, I don't think I'd be able to complete Bloodborne if I hadn't have done it on stream, because I needed those people to say like, no, it's okay. This boss is difficult. Or like, yeah, you're getting there, and like the encouragement and the hints of like where to go next, because Bloodborne is bloody confusing.
It can be a little level design's not
So
tremendous. I like the
pro
level design.
pros and cons.
Yeah.
Yeah, pros and cons to streaming.
I don't know why, as we were talking about that, I just got a major urge to play Red Dead Redemption 2 again and
Being
reinstall
me,
that. I'm so tempted. I love
it's
being a
just
cowboy and fishing, and
I exude play Red Dead.
it's great.
It is.
I'm hopeful that they'll. Well, I'm not hopeful anymore because I saw what Rockstar did with their remasters, but I want to be able to play the first Red Dead Redemption again because I don't think I've seen that game. Like I don't think I ever like. No, I play. I can't even remember is the problem because it was so long ago. I was like 10
Yeah.
or something ridiculous like that. But I
Yeah.
remember things about that game and things I was really interested in. I just haven't been able to play it because it's not really available on PC without doing a bunch of not so
Sketchy.
some morally questionable things to play that game, which I'm not
Mm.
super into unless the idea of getting the game is unfeasible. Like if I'm playing Earthbound, for instance, on my little SNES emulator, I'm not gonna shell out $1,000 or buy a repro cart and get like the SNES ready.
Do you have a PS4?
I don't.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because obviously you can play it on like PlayStation 3. It was on PlayStation 3, right?
Yeah.
PlayStation 3. Um, or it's on PlayStation Now. So if you have a 4,
Oh,
I
there
know
you
you don't
go.
have a PS5, but it is available on Now. But yeah, if you don't have one,
If you
then
don't have that, you're out of luck. I don't. I like the PC and Switch. I like all my retro consoles. I don't know how I feel about this new console generation yet. There's a lot of games I want to play, and there's a lot of games I'm looking forward to. But I feel like the main ones are coming to PC for me. And now that we see Sony bringing some of their games to PC, like my
yeah.
birthday this year is planned out. Because if I remember right, I'm going to look this up before I sound like an idiot. God
Okay.
of War PC I believe
It's
comes out just before my birthday.
January something. It is January it comes out, right?
January 14th. So 4 days before my birthday. And last year for my birthday, I literally I turned off all the lights. I got some tasty drinks. I sat down. I went out to lunch with my parents. That was the only time I left my house for like an hour and a half. I just sat down nonstop, played some sweet, sweet Red Dead Redemption 2 all day. And that was a wonderful birthday. I hang out with people all the time. And this is my 21st birthday coming up, so people are going to want to do shit.
Yeah.
I've never been about. I don't care about bar hopping. I don't care about. I just don't go with shit. I'll try it once and I'll be like, okay, cool. I paid $8 for a drink. Great. It's wonderful. Oh, I can buy cigarettes again. Great. And it spends all this time, getting off the little nicotine vapes. Great. Now I have that temptation. It's like I think I'd rather just kick back inside, make a hot toddy for myself. Go buy the ingredients for that. Just relax.
Yes. They got a 4.
Just play some God of War. Don't let nobody tell me nothing. And do my thing.
You'll be a proper grown-up.
That's right. Maybe I will this year. Maybe I'll make a diversion because I've been craving a Philly cheesesteak. And best Philly cheesesteak outside of Philadelphia, in my mind, is about an hour and a half south of where I live. So maybe I'll go out of my way this birthday and go treat myself to a Philly cheesesteak because I haven't had a really good Philly cheesesteak in a long time.
What's that?
I'm tempted to try. There's a vegetarian one with portobello mushrooms instead of because there's this place called, I don't even know if I should say its name. It's just called Jeffrey's. I'll just say that because I don't want to be too specific with where I'm at right now.
Yeah,
you guys are gonna have to guess a little bit. Chances are you probably know, but you're gonna have to guess a little bit. Jeffrey's is they serve a lot of stuff. They're like a really weird bistro. They serve a little bit of everything, but they don't serve red meat like at all, which is odd. I thought, but I had a chicken a boye salad. I don't even know how to say it, and it was genuinely fantastic. It's one of the few times I've eaten a salad that I was like, holy God, Jesus, it was that good. It had like pecans and craisins. It had like a mango, like a sweet and almost sour sauce, a little spicy. Fuck, hit me out of sun. Full chicken breast on top. My goodness. And I ate before this. I've been doing better eating because it was a wake up call. If you watch Press Start, the Press Start podcast we do, these last couple of weeks I've been like ordering food in because Saturdays are usually the day I allow myself now to order something in. And usually I'd like to do that like 3, but I've been skipping breakfast, which is why Animal Crossing is so helpful. See, gaming does have even outside life benefits. You just gotta make them happen, Captain.
Hey.
Captain America. That's right, everybody. We're talking about a Marvel thing again. A Marvel thing that I was really interested in. I have a lot of love for, but just wasn't that good. And it was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I watched that whole thing. Get used to this, maybe. I don't know. We'll see if I have time to watch Loki, if you guys are into this at all, hearing our thoughts on these shows. But I did watch it. I watched it all the way through. I've had a lot of time to dwell on it. Honestly, last night while I was at work, it just kind of was... I was just thinking through like what I would talk about with it. I don't know, Cayman, what are your thoughts on that show as a whole? Like, it's just a quick little review of it.
I quite liked it. I thought it was not as well made as WandaVision. But I liked the relationship between Bucky and Sam. I liked, exploring like how there's going to be a new Captain America and what that means, and what it means to have a black man who's Captain America, and what it means to have like a non like super soldier Captain America. I thought it was a lot of setup, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of setup for things to come, which I don't mind too bad, but I know you're not a fan of.
If the story stands on its own, which this one almost did, it almost stood on its own, and there was a lot of cool stuff that I was into, like
Yeah.
the idea of spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh
We'll
yeah.
say real quick, but the idea of like people coming back after the snap, like that was fun. They explored that a little bit, and of course that's like the main, like the super soldier serum with all those guys. Like that was fine. That should have been a much smaller bit though. What was most interesting to me was the new Captain America stuff. I don't really
Yeah.
care about the you know the pseudo terrorist organization that's taken super soldier serum. I just I it's interesting, but it should have been like a side point in my mind. The part where like the new Captain America kills a guy, like that was like I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this is about to get like really interesting because it's gonna be like, well, what's Captain America supposed to be? Imagine like that situation of a guy getting thrust into the position of a superhero and cracking under the pressure. That's an awesome that's an awesome premise, and they
Really.
kind of squandered it. They didn't put
Yeah.
nearly enough time into it. They made him like kind of petty, which was just so lame.
I think there's a lot of good ideas in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I wish they'd like pulled them apart more. And I think a lot of how much you like that show probably depends on how much you liked Bucky and Sam and like how much you were already invested in them. Because I already really liked Bucky as a character.
I really
I
liked
was like,
Sam as a character. I wasn't crazy
yeah,
on Bucky, but I really liked Sam as a character.
yeah, I really like Bucky. I like Sam. And so I think I was more invested from the offset. Like, okay, looking back, because again, bear in mind, I saw this when it came out and I haven't seen it since. Like, I could tell you roughly, probably what happens in every episode of WandaVision. Falcon and Winter Soldier, I, I don't remember loads of it. And the bits I do remember are the bits I liked, but those bits were always the throwaway bits. Like, not, I really liked this plot line, story, whatever. It's like, oh, I really liked it when Bucky was like, yeah, I read The Hobbit. I read it when it came out. And Sam's like, what the bitch? Like, my favorite parts were those, like, little parts. And looking back, yeah, it's not enough to carry a whole show, which is why I say the quality isn't as good as WandaVision, but I still liked it because I liked it for those little moments because I'm already invested. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, and I feel like that's
Okay.
probably I feel like a lot of people fall into that category because I like those moments well enough, but it's hard for me to get behind them when you have such it's a heavy show like as a whole. You have like a really big picture idea with the first Black Captain America being Sam, and you have a really big picture of an idea with this like terrorist organization, these extremists taking superhero serum to get life back to the way it was somewhat, but you know, after the snap, so that they could all have what they had before that. You have those two big ideas, and honestly, you know, I care for one more than the other. I like the Sam stuff with Captain America because that it reminded me of like reading comic books as a kid, and it's like when there are those big issues at play, and there are people who would probably who might see the show and be like, oh no, Captain America can't be a black dude. What are you talking about? Like that was definitely a problem at a time. You know, maybe it was a problem even in the 90s. I don't know when the Falcon as Captain America took off. I want to say like 2006. I should look that up real quick. Uh,
Why you're just saying that. Also, like, I think those two are the main, like, biggest issues, but even the, like, smaller sort of B plots and C plots, they still tackle pretty fucking big issues, like Bucky's PTSD. Like, that's a big, hefty, like, serious topic, and that's just, like, a little tiny side plot. Uh, Kids being involved in war and kids being in terrorism and like it's a lot of heavy shit. There's not really a single plot line that you'd go, oh, that's quite light and funny. like the whole thing is very real and dark.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the like the quips and the witty stuff between Sam and Bucky didn't really land for me. Is because you have that really heavy sub. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like that stuff. I like that character development, but the show just had trouble choosing. And the first appearance, Google is saying, I guess 2003, but it's not Sam. It's a different character. Isaiah Bradley is depicted as an underground legend. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna say 2003,
Yeah.
around that era is when we get it. I don't know when the first appearance of Falcon as Captain America is. I guess we could look that up too. But 2003 is like that's still it's an interesting proposition. I like it probably with Falcon coming in. I like Sam's character a lot. Of course, it doesn't mean anything in the big picture of things. Like Captain America is Captain America. It's an Avenger. It's a superhero. Who cares who's wearing the suit? And that was exactly, I brought it up when we talked about WandaVision last week. I was like, I'm pretty sure if I had to guess, the whole thing would be it's not the suit. It's the guy who's wearing it, or it's the person who's wearing it, because it can be anyone. You just have to step up to it. And it's like that's basically exactly what the show had to say. And that was, that's one of my favorite parts of that whole show. I just don't think you need. They tried a bit too much, I think, just a
Yeah.
tad too much to get it all sorted out. But what's there is definitely good on all sides. It's just not fully fleshed out as a whole. And I was really disappointed they didn't do
Yeah.
more with that idea of
It could have
shoehorning some new guy in as Captain America.
maybe done with like 2 or 3 more episodes. Like to delve as in to delve in deeper rather than stretching things out to like really get into the nitty-gritty of the stuff we like.
Yeah, I think it should have been separate series almost. I don't think you can do 10 episodes where you have the idea of a new Captain America, the effects on Sam and Bucky, Sam becoming the new Captain America, what it means to have a black Captain America, all the stuff with the previous superhero, the serum, the super serum that they have. I don't think you can have all that while also having this crazy plot of, oh, after the snap, all these people come out, they all got displaced, and then they start this, this thing, and they all roll out, and they're taking the super soldier serum and taking over. Like that was underdeveloped. At least they went a little bit more on the Sam side of things and developed that. But I think you have to pick a path. Save the after snap stuff because it's interesting. It's there. Save that as a setup. That's one of the keys where I'm okay with the setup, if that story's strong. But it all felt like setup through the whole thing, which it isn't inherently a bad thing, but it is when you don't have that full focus on it.
That's fair. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, but that being said, I don't hate it. I don't think it's one
Yeah,
of the worst
I know what you
Marvel
mean.
things. It's definitely it's better than Thor: The Dark World. It's better than that first Captain America movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than a good few. It's in the middle zone for me for a lot of Marvel
Yeah.
movies, but it's not quite in the
It's
echelon of
just
something like WandaVision.
it's another Marvel thing.
It's more Marvel stuff, and
It's more
hopefully
Marvel.
maybe they'll try. Well, that's the problem now. You can't try again with that idea of the new Captain America. You don't really get to
No.
try that storyline again in the Marvel Cinematic Universe unless you take it to What If or you go somewhere else. But that was like, and that's just kind of disappointing for me, where you have that really interesting premise of, oh my God, Captain America murdered a guy with the shield. It's covered in blood. That's an awesome visual. And then, but like, expand on that. Why does it have to be, okay, you're out. Okay, I'm out. And then he redeems himself. Okay, I'm back. Okay, you're a different guy now. Okay. And that's it. It was just, I don't know. You did bring up last week, though, that there was a character people didn't like. Was
It
that
was yeah, that was him.
that was Captain America?
Because they were coming out week by week, and there
Right.
was that episode ending where it's like Captain America, and he walks out, and like that's the end of the episode. So in that week, people hated him. They were awful, and to be honest, it went on for more than a week. Because then you see his character like decline. It declines over a couple of episodes. So there was a good few weeks where people were just awful to this actor. Don't do that. That's
Don't do
called being a
that.
dick.
He was
So
good in the show too. All the acting,
he's a brilliant actor.
Marvel's good with that stuff. Apart from when the CGI gets too big, it's like the Aquaman thing,
Bit
where the
casting.
yeah, where you can't quite. Okay, there's a
Mm.
gigantic fish monster right there. It's that tennis ball. Like you have to be a special kind of
All right.
actor to get that done.
Yeah. Um. Well, that's fair. I was gonna say, well, are you gonna want to watch Loki? Are you gonna go for
It's
full
next on the
plunge
list.
watch all
Yeah,
of them? Okay, cool. Well, if you don't get to it this week, I have started watching Arcane.
good.
I will finish it by next Tuesday. So we can always talk about that next week.
Good. I did a little spoiler free review, which is really hard with Arcane. I kind of wish I'd if you want to check it out, it's on the Mr. Cow channel. It's hard to talk about that show without spoilers, so I won't even touch on it. That's why I kind of wish I had held back on my arc because I'm always like, I finished the show, I better do a review of it right then and there because that's what I would do with movies. A couple of
Yeah.
years ago, it's just first thoughts, get them all out there, and that's really fun as like a first impressions thing. With a show like Arcane, I probably should have taken my time a little bit more and sat back and be willing to talk about spoilers because I
I
do love it.
am literally 2 episodes in.
Good.
So and already it's like I watched one a few nights ago, one last night. So like I've watched one every night, and then this morning I was doing some work, like some drawing, and I was like, oh, I'll have it on in the background. And then like 5 minutes in, I realized I hadn't done anything. I was just staring at the screen because it's so fucking beautiful. And I
It's
was like, okay, this is a show that I have to, if I'm gonna watch it, I need to watch it, like sit down, full attention. So I'm
get a little
probably gonna watch.
popcorn.
Yeah, but it's heavy as well. I didn't like I opened it up and I was like, oh, Jacob recommended this show. I'm feeling a little down, a little anxious. I'll put this show on. It
Yeah.
literally starts with like okay, this is like before the first thingy, but it literally starts with like two characters walking through a war zone and seeing what I think is their dead parents, right? Or at
Yeah.
least a pile of dead bodies. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's definitely not a light show.
No,
They try
no,
like they don't even they try with like a little bit of that like situational comedy, not like sitcom comedy like you would think
no.
about it, but like, oh, this is all kind of crazy and they're a little quippy and but it
Yeah,
is a really heavy show.
I'm already like this is so good, and I can see why people love it, and it's the animation is just like to die for.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah,
Yeah, and I heard a lot of complaints from people in
really.
my little animation circle. Well, not about Arcane, but about animation in general. Yeah,
I
not
was
about.
gonna
Believe me, I have not.
how?
Everyone that I've talked to that has seen that whole show, which is one problem too. Some people just say shit and they haven't seen things yet.
Mm,
And that plays into the animation realm a lot because a new show just came out over here, which I'm sure you haven't heard of, unless you've. Do you know you know about Seth Rogen, that lovely man, right?
a bit of it.
He did a new show called Santa Inc. Have you heard of that show at all?
No.
It was when I was looking at it a few days ago. It was the lowest reviewed TV series of all time on IMDb, and people were talking about it like it was this
Oh no.
monstrosity. It destroys Christmas. It's a Christmas show. It's a Christmas show about like if
Oh
the
yeah.
North Pole was run as a business. Uh, it's a bad show. What I've seen so far, I haven't finished it yet. It's like Crossing Swords, which I'm sure not a lot of people have seen either. That was like a it was done by one of the guys that did Robot Chicken. It's just when you don't when the comedy doesn't quite click. It's when it's all really you think cursing and like really just lowbrow lazy comedy is funny. Like, oh, isn't it funny that Santa's taking a hit off a bong? Isn't it funny that Santa's saying fuck? Isn't it funny that the elves, like are applying things from our everyday lives? Like, there's like feminist things going on. Like, the main plot is Sarah Silverman's character, Candy, wants to be the first female Santa Claus. And it's like, okay, you can have that story work. for sure. And that story isn't inherently bad. In fact, it's kind of an interesting one. It's like, okay, it's like you got high aspirations. But also, her character in the show's an elf. And so far, I'm only
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 episodes in. Isn't that also interesting? Wouldn't that also be an interesting plot to have, like, oh, an elf wants to be Santa Claus?
Yes.
Like, that's interesting too, but that's never really explored. It's just it feels like it's plays in all the wrong areas, and the humor rarely works. Every once in a while it works with like a witty comeback, and that's about it. But other than that, it doesn't really have anything going for it. And the animation in that show too, it's unique. It stands out for sure. It's not the most expressive thing ever. And
Mm.
getting back to the animation thing I was talking about, it's like you can have that nice animation style. It's weird. It's hard to get that mix, which we have a lot of in America and just Western stuff in general with Western animation is very basic flash animation, which there's nothing wrong with. But shows like Inside Job or F is for Family or all these like flash animated shows that we see or flash style animated shows, they all look a little bit samey because of that like Family Guy
Yeah.
aesthetic, because of that Simpsons aesthetic. So it's nice to see stuff like Arcane, and as terrible as Santa Inc. is, it's nice to see studios giving a chance to that kind of art style as well, even if the material doesn't turn out great. But I will say I haven't finished Santa Inc. yet, so maybe it turns around. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen yet, if you've heard about that, because the reason it blew up so much is because Seth Rogen said that the reason the show was getting attacked by white supremacists.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking.
Which, if you go through like his
I'm
Twitter feed,
looking.
yeah, there's a good number of bad eggs being horrible people on
Mm.
Twitter. Who knew people were horrible on Twitter? But the show itself is just structurally not great, and it's the Ghostbusters 2016 the thing all over again, where it's like it just didn't quite click for everybody. But I will say, Ghostbusters 2016 leaps and strides better than Santa Inc. Like I would rather watch that again. And I'd probably get a little bit more enjoyment from that movie because it's bad, but it's like confused. It's like improv bad. So it's like every once in a while there's a little improv quip that's funny. Every once in a while there's a character that gives it the role. Specifically, like Leslie Jones gives her the role in that movie. This show just nothing really is landing so far, at least for me. But I'm sure there are people out there that like. If you liked Sausage Party, you'll probably like Santa Inc., which I think it's another sausage party. Is all it is to me. It's not the worst thing on the planet.
I mean, I don't hate Sausage Party for a dumb show on in the back, dumb film on in the background. Um, Santa Inc. looks bad.
It's it is.
It looks.
I can speak for what I'll maybe I'll finish that today. That's one show I was watching a little bit right as I heard about it because I was like, I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I'm not going to post about anything or say anything until I've actually seen the show. Uh, and as I was watching, I was like, okay, this is a really bad show. It's a very bad show, and it sucks that people are getting personally attacked for it, and sometimes
Never
personally attacked.
personally attack someone
Yeah, never
for
do
that.
that. It
But
hurts everything. It hurts the ability of the creator to take actual criticism because they're being exposed to not constructive criticism. They're being presented with nonsense stuff that doesn't mean anything about the merits of a person, and they're being attacked for stuff they have no control over. But they had control over, their creation, the thing they worked on. And Seth Rogen, even I think he's just a voice on it. The creators and writers are like Sarah Silverman and Seth Rogen are connected. They're voices in the show. They're a part of the show, but they're not. It's just ridiculous to me that people would attack it as much as they are. But I see why it's getting garnered as a horrible show because it's bad. It's not. It's worse than Sausage Party so far. But Sausage Party, I also think is just it was. Isn't it funny that food's cursing?
oh yeah, it's stupid. I'll be honest. I think I don't mind Sausage Party because I literally saw it. Me and my boyfriend, we'd ordered pizza. It was like late on a Saturday night or something. We had some beers and we were like, let's watch a dumb film. Okay, what the fuck is Sausage Party? Like, if I'd have sat down in any other situation and watched it, I probably would have thought it was stupid. But you know, when you're like lazy with like you're just chilling out with someone else and you're
Yeah,
like, oh, put a dumb thing on. I think that's probably why I like it. Not too bad. Would you say it's worse than The Little Prince? Is it The Little Prince that came out? You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't even remember. It's like the show we're talking about. I don't even remember the name of it. It's about the royal family. It's like Family Guy with the royal family. I haven't seen all of that show either. I stopped with that one because there was nothing there. It was just Family Guy with the royal family. Isn't it funny that the queen is cursing? Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's just that show was just wildly uninteresting and unfunny. This one is like there's pieces there that work. There was never any pieces for the prince to work because it really is just Family Guy
The Prince.
with
Sorry, I was thinking about
cursing.
the book. The TV show we're on about is called The Prince.
The prince, yeah.
Yeah. Don't hate me. I said the wrong thing.
So I think Santa Inc. is almost more disappointing because there's stuff there that works, and it seemed like the animation style is unique. It stands out. The idea of the North Pole being run like a business, like a big corporation, like it's an idea that's been done before, but it's interesting at least. The idea of the first female Santa, the idea of the first elf Santa being just as interesting as that. Like that, there's stuff there that works, and it just they decide to trade all that stuff that works for stuff that is unfunny and shit and I'm gonna vomit talking about it apparently. Which I think this show so far is it's on par with how bad it is, but it's more disappointing because of what could have been. Because it could have been something at least watchable, but right now it's barely even watchable. You know what it is? Have you ever seen Eight Crazy Nights with Adam Sandler? It's like that, where there
Okay.
are pieces that work, there's stuff that fits, and it just never pans out, and it just becomes a frustrating mess. It's equally as frustrating as it is bad, where the prince is just bad. There's no frustration there because there was never going to be a situation where that show was going to work. It was a stupid idea to begin with. But Santa Inc. admittedly could have worked, which is why people got attached to it, which is why it got greenlit, other than just exploitative of a popular family like the Prince. So I'd say so far Santa Inc. is worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no good. Don't recommend. Don't even watch it as a bit. Don't watch. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff that I would say don't watch even as a bit. Eight Crazy Nights, which I just did a video on. I was gonna do a secret lore video on it. That one's not even like funny bad. And same with
Mm.
Santa Inc. There's comedies that miss the mark are the hardest things to laugh at. With
Yes.
the excuse being Ghostbusters 2016, because when that movie falls flat, sometimes the comedy comes out. It's like, what were you thinking that you thought that joke was going to be funny? And so that comes out a little bit. And so I get more enjoyment out of that, where it's just like, oh, they got all these product placements. It's like, yeah, they're the Ghostbusters. Gotta get that Papa John. Gotta eat those Pringles. And like Bill Murray's walking, he's like sitting down in a chair because he doesn't want to be there. There's like there's some goofy stuff there, but oof. I'm gonna put it out of my mind. Had to get that
We
off
need
my
to talk
chest. That was a
no,
bad thing
no.
I ran into.
We need to talk about something good before we end.
Yeah, we go
I
from
don't like.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a kind of a
Yeah.
pretty good show, to that.
We mentioned it before we started filming. New Spider-Man trailer, Into the Spider-Verse,
Across the Spider Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse, and it's like part one or something.
Yeah, it's they're going full on with it, and honestly, as successful as that previous one is, I'm happy that it looks like they're letting them do what they want to do with it. That is
Yep.
the key to making something good is when the creators have a vision.
Mm.
It's rarely good when it's by committee. It's why the first two Thor movies are underwhelming, and then you get Taika Waititi in there, and he has an idea, he has a vision for how he wants this movie to play out, and you get a really good movie from it. You just it's about getting creative people in on there, and as
So
Spider-Man gets that done. I'm really excited.
I'm so excited. It's one of the few trailers I've watched in a long time. But they don't even call it a trailer, do they? They call it like a sneak peek or like something like that. It's not set up like a normal trailer where it's like a shit ton of clips from the whole film just like smashed together. It's like a tiny little like thing on its own. It's the first time since I've seen it's the first time in a long time that I've seen something like that and actually gone like, oh my God, this looks amazing. Like audibly gasped. Oh my God, can't word today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
I
know
was like,
exactly what you mean.
shit. So excited.
Hey man, animation's bouncing back. All those people thinking it was going to be just Simpsons clones, Family Guy clones, movies like Sausage Party where there's no actual jokes. It's just saying fuck over and over again. If you give the right people the means to do it, they'll make good stuff, and
I will indeed.
that's the key. And hopefully Marvel keeps going with that too,
Yeah,
because there's
I hope
been
so.
some sucky Marvel stuff that's been planned by committee, and there's been some good stuff when they just give it to a dude. I also hope they
Um,
bring back. I hope they keep doing specific musicians for the soundtracks because it does give it a really unique sound. That was one of my favorite parts of Black Panther was Kendrick Lamar did a soundtrack for it,
it
and
was brilliant.
some of it came into so good.
Yeah,
I
so
love me some
good.
Kendrick Lamar. The dude's a
And
genius.
another trailer that dropped. I don't know if you've seen it. I think it came out yesterday. Is the second Matrix trailer.
I've never been a big Matrix guy.
Oh,
I've never gone deep with Matrix. I understand. I've seen them, most of them. I think it's been a long
it's one
time.
and three.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not super hyped up about it because we've seen how this
It's not.
goes sometimes.
Well, that's fair. Well, I would just tell you the new trailer looks pretty darn good.
Well, good.
Hell
Was it
yeah.
as good as Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I haven't seen any of Ghostbusters
I haven't
Afterlife.
seen it either.
Trailer, anything. Nothing.
I've heard it's either fine or just embarrassingly by the book. That's what I've heard so far.
Yeah,
And
I've heard it's good.
yeah, I haven't heard good. I have not heard good yet.
Okay, I've heard shockingly good, surprisingly good for what it is.
Okay. We'll see. I'm tempted to see it, but that's the thing is like there are all these people that because Ghostbusters was never supposed to be like the big. It's a play on Exterminators. It was never supposed to be a big cinematic universe, and now they're turning it into a big cinematic universe. And it's just like, well, you're kind of missing the point with that a little bit. And of course, there's something to be said for adaptions. And I haven't seen it. Maybe it is like surprisingly good, but I'm not expecting it to like live up to what the previous ones were because they were lightning in a bottle. Especially the first one was lightning in a bottle, and so you just can't capture that again. But we'll see. They got a
I
brand deal with Walmart, so Paul Rudd shops in a Walmart, and it's clean. And that's one thing I remember from the trailer is Paul Rudd's in Walmart and he sees the little Stay Puft Marshmallow. And he's like, "What?" And it's a really clean. As a person that works at Walmart, that's a very clean, very well put together Walmart. Walmarts don't look like that. Walmarts look like a war zone most of the time. They're disgusting.
can only take your word on all of this.
Yeah,
So okay.
I don't know. Shop at Walmart though. That's the moral of this episode of the Tuesday Show.
I
Watch
thought the moral
Ghostbusters
was
Afterlife, shop at Walmart, and get yourself. What did they do? Partner with Denny's, or was that someone partnered with Denny's? I don't remember who.
I
Do you have
don't know.
Denny's over there?
No.
It's like garbage breakfast food. It's disgusting. It's horrible, and they'll do brand deals with people.
Okay.
Go eat at Denny's, everybody. Thanks for watching the Tuesday Show. We'll
Bye.
see you later.